Fort Sentinel's range scorched under Mojave's relentless sun, a crucible where elite snipers fired high-tech rifles at targets shimmering 2 kilometers out. Dust swirled, stinging exposed skin. Her dreadlocks tied with a silver cord. Her gray eyes, sharp as steel, hid a tempest of secrets from a past she buried. Spark, a silver-gray ferret, clung to her shoulder. His crimson collar flashing a microchip's glow, a photograph of a stern, silver-haired man, her mentor, swaying gently. "What's the cleaner doing here?" Commander Marcus Kane, an undefeated marksman with 18 confirmed kills, sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. Recruits laughed, their mockery sharp, dismissing the woman who seemed out of place. Nyasha's gaze locked onto Kane's, unyielding, her calm a silent challenge. "I can outshoot you," she declared, her voice steady as iron, cutting through the jeers. The crowd roared with laughter, their scorn louder than the wind. Kane, smirking, tossed her a rusted M1903 Springfield, its scope misaligned, its stock worn. "Entertain us, janitor," he taunted, expecting failure. Nyasha knelt, Spark's ears twitching as wind roared. She exhaled, her focus absolute. One breath, one shot. The target, 2,000 meters away, clanged, a perfect bullseye. Silence choked the air. Her sleeve slipped, revealing a Morse code tattoo and a faint scar, marks of Orbis 9. Kane's face drained of color, his arrogance shattered. Spark leapt to her side, tail flicking triumphantly. Nyasha set the rifle down, her silence deafening. She was Silent Blade, and Fort Sentinel would never forget her shot. Fort Sentinel stood resolute in the Mojave's scorched embrace, a steel-clad fortress where the world's deadliest snipers were forged in relentless heat. The range, sprawling across barren dunes, hummed with Sri Lanka with the sharp crack of gunfire. High-tech rifles with optical scopes flashing as they struck targets shimmering 2 kilometers away. Recruits, clad in sleek tactical vests, moved with disciplined urgency, their shots a symphony of precision under the unforgiving sun. Officers, clipboards in hand, scrutinized every round, their notes shaping the future of marksmen. Commander Marcus Kane, a legend with 18 confirmed long-range kills, ruled this crucible with an iron gaze. His flawless record, each shot a testament to skill, made him a near-mythic figure. His name whispered with reverence by young soldiers eager to emulate his prowess. Kane's commands cut through the desert air, sharp and unyielding, his presence a beacon of authority. His latest feat, a 1,800-meter shot through swirling dust, drew cheers, reinforcing his untouchable status. Recruits idolized him, their eyes fixed on his every move, blind to the woman sweeping sand from the range's edges. Nyasha, 40, her ebony skin radiant despite the dust, glided unnoticed in a faded janitor's smock. Her dreadlocks, tied with a silver cord, swayed gently as she worked, her gray eyes catching every errant shot, every overconfident smirk. To the recruits, she was a shadow, invisible in their world of sharpshooters. Spark, her silver-gray ferret, curled at her feet, his crimson collar glinting with a microchip, a photograph of a stern, silver-haired man, her mentor, dangling from it. Spark's black eyes, sharp as Nyasha's, scanned the range, his ears twitching with the wind's secrets. His scar, a faint mark on his back, spoke of past dangers shared with the old man. Nyasha was no mere cleaner. She was Silent Blade, the last survivor of Orbis 9, a covert unit erased from history after the catastrophic Eclipse mission. Her past was a wound, her presence a deliberate disguise to test the camp's hubris. The scar on her wrist, hidden beneath her sleeve, throbbed, a reminder of her hesitation that cost her team during Eclipse. The old man, her mentor, had trained her to be flawless, teaching her to read the wind, to move without sound, his lessons etched in her and Spark. The ferret, with his scar from past missions, was his final gift, a symbol of loyalty. Nyasha's janitor role was a shield, allowing her to observe the camp's arrogance undetected. As she swept, she studied the recruits' reliance on technology, their laser-guided scopes, their digital readouts. They trusted machines over instinct, a flaw the old man had warned against. "The wind speaks," he'd said, "but only to those who listen." Nyasha's gray eyes narrowed. noting their overdependence on gadgets, their dismissal of the desert's whispers. Kane's voice boomed, praising his own skill, oblivious to the woman he ignored. Sparks' tail flicked, as if sensing the moment nearing. Fort Sentinel, steeped in hubris, was a proving ground not just for snipers, but for her resolve. She'd come to right a wrong, to honor her mentor's legacy. The camp, alive with gunfire, was about to witness a storm brewing in the woman they ignored, her Ferret a silent partner in a mission to redefine precision. The Mojave sun beat down on Fort Sentinel's range, where the crack of high-tech rifles echoed like a heartbeat. Commander Marcus Kane, his tactical vest gleaming, fired a shot that struck a target at 1,800 meters, the steel plate clanging with precision. Recruits erupted in cheers, their clipboards scribbled with notes of awe, their eyes fixed on Kane's commanding figure. His 18 confirmed kills made him a legend, his every word a decree. Nyasha, her ebony skin catching the light, swept sand from the range's edge. Her faded janitor's smock a stark contrast to the soldier's gear. Her dreadlocks, tied with a silver cord, swayed as she moved, her gray eyes scanning the recruits' overconfident smirks. Spark, her silver-gray ferret, perched on a nearby crate, his crimson collar glinting with a microchip, the photograph of a stern, silver-haired man, her mentor, swaying gently. His black eyes, sharp as Nyasha's, followed the crowd, his ears twitching with the desert's restless wind. Kane's gaze landed on Nyasha, a smirk curling his lips. "Still scrubbing cleaner?" he called. His voice thick with mockery, slicing through the range's din. Recruits laughed, their jeers a chorus of disdain. Some mimicked sweeping motions, their chuckles sharp and careless. "Maybe she wants to polish our rifles," one shouted, elbowing his friend. Nyasha paused, her broom still, her gray eyes locking onto Kane's with a quiet intensity that cut through the laughter. "I can outshoot you," she said, her voice calm, unyielding, like iron forged in silence. The words hung in the air, stunning the crowd into a momentary hush. Then laughter roared louder, a wave of scorn crashing over the range. Kane's smirk widened, his eyes gleaming with amusement. "You? A janitor?" he scoffed, striding to a rack and grabbing a rusted M1903 Springfield. Its scope misaligned, its stock scarred from years of neglect. "Prove it, then," he said, tossing the rifle to her with a flick of his wrist, as if discarding trash. Nyasha caught the weapon, its weight familiar despite its decay. Her fingers traced the worn stock, feeling its history, her scar throbbing beneath her sleeve, a reminder of the Eclipse mission's failure. Spark leapt from the crate to her side, his tail flicking, his crimson collar blinking softly, as if in sync with her resolve. The recruits' laughter grew, their taunts relentless. "She'll miss by a mile," one called, sparking more chuckles. Kane crossed his arms, his smirk a challenge. "Show us what a cleaner can do, girl," he taunted, his voice dripping with condescension. The wind howled, kicking up sand that stung exposed skin, its gusts unpredictable. Nyasha knelt, her movements deliberate, her gray eyes narrowing as she studied the target 2,000 meters away, a steel plate shimmering in the heat haze. Spark's ears twitched, sensing the wind's rhythm, his black eyes gleaming with focus. The crowd's jeers softened, curiosity creeping into their faces as Nyasha's calm defied their mockery. The old man's voice echoed in her mind. "The wind speaks if you listen." She'd failed to listen once, during Eclipse, when hesitation cost lives. Now, she would not falter. Her dreadlocks swayed, the silver cord catching a stray sunbeam. Spark's presence, his scar a badge of shared trials, grounded her. "Hurry up. Cleaner." Kane snapped, his patience thinning. "We've got real work to do." Nyasha ignored him, her focus absolute, her hands steady on the rusted rifle. The recruits leaned forward, their laughter fading into murmurs. Spark's tail flicked, as if reading the gusts with her. The range grew quiet, the wind's howl the only sound, amplifying the tension. Nyasha's gray eyes locked onto the distant target, her heart steady, her scar a silent vow. She was Silent Blade, and this moment would silence their doubt, not with words, but with a shot that would echo through Fort Sentinel's history. The Mojave wind howled across Fort Sentinel's range, kicking up sand that stung like needles. Nyasha knelt, the rusted M1903 Springfield steady in her grip, its misaligned scope a relic of forgotten battles. Spark crouched beside her, his silver-gray fur ruffled, crimson collar blinking faintly. The photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying. The target, a steel plate 2,000 meters away, shimmered in the heat haze, a challenge no recruit had met with such a worn rifle. Commander Marcus Kane stood, arms crossed, his smirk a silent wager on her failure. Recruits, their laughter from moments ago fading, leaned forward, curiosity eclipsing their scorn. Nyasha's gray eyes narrowed, calculating wind speed, bullet drop, and the Earth's subtle curve. Her mentor's voice echoed, the shot knows only physics. She adjusted the crooked scope, relying on instinct honed through years of covert missions. Her dreadlocks swayed, silver cord catching a sunbeam. Spark's ears twitched, sensing the gust's rhythm, his black eyes gleaming with focus. She's stalling, Kane muttered, his voice sharp with impatience. Nyasha exhaled, her finger brushing the trigger, her scar throbbing beneath her sleeve, a reminder of the Eclipse mission's cost. The world shrank to her, the rifle, and the distant plate. Recruits held their breath, the winds howled the only sound. Spark's tail flicked, as if urging her forward. Nyasha's heart steadied, her focus absolute. A single, sharp crack split the air, clean and final. The target clanged, the monitor flashing a perfect bullseye. Gasps rippled through the crowd, a wave of disbelief. Kane's smirk vanished, his face pale as ash, his authority shaken. Nyasha stood, her janitor's smock slipping to reveal a faint scar and a Morse code tattoo. Orbis 9's mark. A relic of a covert unit erased from history. Spark leapt to her shoulder, his tail flicking triumphantly, his crimson collar pulsing as if in sync with her victory. "Who is she?" a recruit whispered, the question spreading like wildfire. Nyasha set the rifle down, her silence louder than the shot that had shattered their assumptions. Colonel Elena Torres stepped forward, her eyes wide with recognition. "Silent Blade," she murmured, naming the legend of Orbis 9, a unit that struck without sound, toppling threats with precision. The recruits stirred. Tales of Orbis 9 surfacing, missions that changed wars and shadows. Kane, speechless, stared at the woman he'd mocked, his pride crumbling. Nyasha's shot had not just hit a target. It had pierced the camp's arrogance, exposing their blindness. Spark's black eyes gleamed, his microchip blinking, a testament to the mentor who'd shaped them both. Torres approached, her voice steady but reverent. "Ms. Nyasha, will you train our snipers?" Nyasha's gray eyes met hers, unflinching. "If it rights a wrong," she said, her tone calm but resolute. Spark's ears twitched, as if affirming her choice. The range buzzed with awe, the janitor now a force undeniable. Recruits, once jeering, stared in wonder, their clipboards forgotten. Kane's legend, once untouchable, dimmed in the face of Nyasha's precision. Her scar, a mark of her failure during Eclipse, now fueled her purpose. The old man's lessons, reading the wind, moving without sound, lived in her steady hands, in Spark's agile movements. The Ferret, with his scar from past missions, was a living link to her mentor's legacy. Nyasha's shot had shifted Fort Sentinel's pulse, turning a stage of hubris into a proving ground for redemption. The crowd, now silent, felt the weight of her presence. Spark's crimson collar blinked. A beacon of loyalty. Nyasha stood tall, her janitor's disguise no longer a shield but a symbol of her quiet strength, ready to teach a camp that had underestimated her. The air at Fort Sentinel's range hung heavy, the echo of Nyasha's shot still reverberating. The steel target, 2,000 meters out, stood as proof of her precision. Its bullseye a silent rebuke to the recruits' earlier jeers. Nyasha stood, her janitor's smock fluttering, revealing a faint scar and a Morse code tattoo on her wrist, Orbis 9's mark. A symbol of a covert unit erased from history. Spark, her silver-gray ferret, perched on her shoulder, his crimson collar blinking softly, the photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying. Commander Marcus Kane, his face ashen, stared at the woman he'd mocked, his legend dimmed. Recruits, their laughter replaced by stunned whispers, murmured, "Who is she?" Colonel Elena Torres, a seasoned officer with sharp insight, stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the tattoo. "Silent Blade," she said, her voice low but certain, naming the last survivor of Orbis 9. A unit that struck without sound, toppling threats in shadows. The recruits stirred, tales of Orbis 9's covert missions, ending wars with silent precision, rippling through their ranks. Kane, still reeling, muttered, "You're no janitor." Nyasha's gray eyes met his, unflinching, her dreadlocks swaying, silver cord catching the Mojave sun. "I came to fix what I broke," she said. Her tone steady, a vow rooted in pain. Her scar, a relic of the Eclipse mission, throbbed, a reminder of her hesitation that cost her team's lives a decade ago. Orbis 9, once a beacon of covert excellence, had been erased after that failure, leaving Nyasha to carry its weight. Spark, his black eyes gleaming, his scar a badge of shared trials, embodied her mentor's legacy. The old man had taught her to read the wind, to move without trace, but her one falter had shattered that trust. Now, her shot had shattered Fort Sentinel's arrogance. A first step toward redemption. Torres approached, her clipboard forgotten, her voice reverent. "Ms. Nyasha, will you train our snipers?" Spark's ears twitched, his crimson collar pulsing as if in agreement, the mentor's photograph a silent urging. Nyasha paused, her gray eyes scanning the recruits, their faces now a mix of awe and curiosity. She'd come to Fort Sentinel not for glory, but to honor her mentor's lessons, to right the wrong of Eclipse. Her janitor's disguise, a test of the camp's hubris, had served its purpose. "If it rights a wrong," she said, her voice calm but resolute, "I will." The recruits, once blind to her worth, now hung on her words, their clipboards still. Kane, his pride fractured, stood silent, his authority overshadowed by a woman he'd dismissed as a cleaner. The range buzzed with a new energy, the recruits whispering of Silent Blade and her Ferret, whose loyalty mirrored her own. Spark leapt to the ground, his tail flicking, his microchip blinking as if sensing the shift. Nyasha's shot had done more than hit a target. It had pierced the camp's veil of prejudice, exposing their blindness to true skill. Her mentor's voice echoed, "A shot is a promise." She'd broken that promise once, but now, with Spark by her side, she would keep it. The camp, once Kane's domain, now felt her presence, a woman who needed no spotlight, only a steady hand and a silent heart. Recruits, their eyes wide, saw her not as a janitor, but as a legend reborn. Torres nodded, recognizing the weight of Nyasha's past and the power of her purpose. Spark's crimson collar gleamed, a beacon of loyalty, as Nyasha stood ready to transform Fort Sentinel. Her scar a vow, her tattoo a testament, her Ferret a living link to a legacy that would not be forgotten. Fort Sentinel's range pulsed with a new energy as Nyasha stood before a line of recruits. His crimson collar blinking softly, the photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying gently. The camp, still reeling from her 2,000-meter shot, buzzed with whispers of Silent Blade. Nyasha began, not with rifles, but with silence. "Listen to the wind," she said, her voice calm, cutting through the Mojave's relentless heat. "It reveals what machines cannot." Spark darted through the line, his black eyes gleaming, carrying tiny markers to test agility, his tail a silver blur. Recruits, once reliant on digital readouts, hesitated, their confidence shaken. Private Ryan, a brash young marksman, furrowed his brow, gripping his rifle. "How do we aim without scopes?" he asked. Nyasha knelt beside him, her scar hidden beneath her sleeve, a reminder of her Eclipse failure. "Feel your heartbeat," she said. "Wait for the moment it aligns with the wind." Spark leapt to her shoulder, his crimson collar pulsing, as if echoing her words. She shared her mentor's wisdom. A shot is patience, not power. Commander Marcus Kane watched from the range's edge, his once proud stride hesitant, his pride dented by Nyasha's shot. The recruits, their clipboards forgotten, followed her lead, lying prone to sense the desert's pulse. Spark wove through drills, placing markers with uncanny precision. His scar a testament to past trials shared with her mentor. Nyasha's methods, rooted in the old man's teachings, began to reshape the camp. Ryan, struggling with a shot, missed a target 500 meters out. Nyasha adjusted his stance, her touch firm but calm. "The rifle is only as good as the mind behind it," she said, echoing her mentor. Spark darted to the target, placing a reflective tag, guiding Ryan's next shot to a near-perfect hit. The recruits gasped, their awe growing. Nyasha's lessons turned cocky soldiers into disciplined marksmen, their shots tighter, their focus sharper. Colonel Elena Torres, observing, took notes, her clipboard filled with Nyasha's techniques. "You're teaching them to think," she told Nyasha, her voice reverent. Spark, with his microchip blinking, scampered through another drill, nudging a recruit's rifle to correct aim, earning murmurs of wonder. Nyasha's gray eyes scanned the group. "She sees what I didn't," Kane muttered, his voice soft with reluctant respect. The recruits, once jeering, now followed her lead, their shots reflecting her discipline. Nyasha's scar, a silent vow, drove her to redeem her past. The camp buzzed with tales of Silent Blade and her Ferret, their impact undeniable. Kane's reckoning rippled through Fort Sentinel, proving even the proudest could learn from a woman and her Ferret, whose silence outshone any boast. Nyasha's lessons, rooted in her mentor's teachings, honored his belief that true strength needed no fanfare, only a steady hand and a heart attuned to the wind. Under a starless Mojave sky, Nyasha led Fort Sentinel's recruits into the desert, their rifles stripped of tech. The wind howled, a restless force, as she stood in her faded janitor's smock, her gray eyes piercing the darkness. Spark scampered ahead, his silver gray for a faint shimmer, crimson collar blinking, the photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying. "Feel the earth," she instructed, her voice steady, cutting through the gusts. "Your shot begins here." She had them lie prone for hours, sensing their pulse, the wind's rhythm. Spark wove through the group, nudging faltering recruits, his black eyes sharp, his scar a badge of past trials. Nyasha shared her mentor's wisdom. A sniper shoots to protect, not to kill. Her dreadlocks swayed, silver cord catching starlight. As she recounted his training, storms, cliffs, darkness, where instinct trumped tools. Private Ryan, once brash, asked, "Did you ever fail?" Nyasha touched Spark's collar, placing reflective tags to guide aim, his tail a silver streak. Recruits, once tech-dependent, hit marks using senses alone, their shots a testament to Nyasha's lessons. "The wind speaks," she said. "Listen." Ryan, struggling, found his shot under her guidance, his confidence growing. Spark, with his microchip blinking, embodied her mentor's discipline, a living echo of his teachings. A recruit whispered, "She's like the wind herself." Nyasha's focus remained, her gray eyes softening only when Spark leapt to her shoulder, his tail flicking. She led a drill in a sandstorm. Targets obscured. Spark navigated obstacles with eerie skill, placing markers for recruits. Their shots, once erratic, now struck true, reflecting Nyasha's emphasis on patience. Colonel Elena Torres, watching, saw a camp reborn. "You're teaching them to see," she told Nyasha, her clipboard filled with notes. Nyasha's methods, rooted in silence, turned cocky soldiers into listeners, of the desert, of themselves. Ryan, now hitting tight groups, said, "You teach us to feel the shot." Nyasha nodded, her scar a silent vow. Spark, his crimson collar pulsing, darted through another drill, honored his belief that true skill needed no fanfare. The recruits, once blind to her worth, now followed her lead, their shots a symphony of discipline. Spark's agility, his scar a mark of loyalty, mirrored Nyasha's resolve. The desert, once a stage for egos, hummed with purpose, driven by a woman and her Ferret, whose quiet strength spoke louder than any rifle's crack. Commander Marcus Kane lingered at Fort Sentinel's range edge, his once confident stride faltering under the Mojave's fading light. Nyasha's training had shifted the camp's pulse, her lessons in silence and instinct reshaping recruits. She stood before them, her janitor's smock dusty, gray eyes piercing as she guided Private Ryan through a shot. Spark, her silver-gray Ferret, darted between targets, his crimson collar blinking, the photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying. Kane watched, his pride dented by her 2,000-meter shot that had silenced his mockery. Nyasha's calm corrections, adjusting Ryan's stance, urging him to feel the wind, were razor-sharp. Spark placed a marker with uncanny precision, his scar glinting, earning murmurs from recruits. Kane approached after the session, his voice low. "I was wrong to mock you," he said, eyes meeting Nyasha's. "Orbis, 9, you're a legend." Her gray eyes held steady, unyielding. "Legends don't matter," she replied. "Actions do." Her dreadlocks swayed, silver cord catching dusk's glow. She invited Kane to shoot beside her. He gripped his high-tech rifle, aiming at a 1,500-meter target, but missed, the wind betraying him. Nyasha, with the rusted Springfield, struck it dead center, her shot a whisper of precision. Spark leapt to her shoulder, tail flicking triumphantly, his crimson collar pulsing. Kane's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "You're better than I ever was," he admitted, voice soft with newfound respect. Recruits, watching, saw their commander humbled. Darted through, nudging a recruit's rifle to correct aim, his agility a testament to the old man's legacy. Colonel Elena Torres, observing, told Kane, "She didn't just hit a target. She hit our pride." Her clipboard brimmed with Nyasha's methods, the camp's transformation evident. Kane, once untouchable, now listened, his shots improving under Nyasha's guidance. "I saw only a cleaner," he told Ryan, voice tinged with regret. She saw the desert's pulse. Nyasha's quiet authority, once invisible, now commanded the range. Spark's black eyes gleamed, his scar a mark of loyalty, mirroring her resolve. The recruits, once jeering, now followed her lead, their shots reflecting her discipline. Nyasha's scar, hidden beneath her sleeve, throbbed, a reminder of her eclipse failure, now fueling her purpose. The camp buzzed with tales of Silent Blade and her Ferret, their impact undeniable. Kane's reckoning rippled through Fort Sentinel, proving even the proudest could learn from a woman and her Ferret, whose silence outshone any boast. Nyasha's lessons, rooted in her mentor's teachings, honored his belief that true strength needed no fanfare, only a steady hand and a heart attuned to the wind. Fort Sentinel unveiled a new sign under the Mojave's searing sun, Silent Blade Range. A photograph of Nyasha's mentor, his stern, silver-haired face beside Spark's silver-gray form, hung proudly, the Ferret's crimson collar gleaming in the frame. Nyasha, still in her faded janitor's smock, stood as a short-term instructor, her gray eyes guiding recruits with quiet authority. Her methods, rooted in instinct, reshaped the camp. She taught precision through sensing the wind, not relying on high-tech scopes. Spark darted through drills, his black eyes sharp, carrying reflective markers to test agility. His scar a testament to past trials. Recruits, once brash, now struck targets in blinding sandstorms, their shots guided by Nyasha's voice. Colonel Elena Torres, clipboard in hand, noted, "You teach adaptability." Her words carried reverence, the camp's pulse altered by a woman once dismissed. Private Ryan, now a top marksman, hit a 1,800-meter target, his aim honed by Nyasha's lessons. "You and Spark are legends," he said, awe in his voice. Nyasha shook her head, her dreadlocks swaying, silver cord catching sunlight. "We're fixing mistakes," she replied, her scar throbbing, a reminder of her eclipse failure. She spoke of her mentor, whose lessons lived in her steady hands and Spark's loyalty. The camp buzzed with tales of Silent Blade, the janitor who outshot their best. Spark, his crimson collar pulsing, became a symbol of discipline, scampering through drills to place markers with uncanny skill. Recruits, once tech-obsessed, now trusted their senses, their shots a testament to Nyasha's impact. Torres, observing, saw a camp reborn, its snipers sharper, humbler. During a drill, Spark slipped through a mock grid, his tail a silver streak, placing a chip to disable a drone, earning cheers. Nyasha's voice, calm and resolute, echoed her mentor. "A shot is a promise." Her brief tenure left an indelible mark, not in glory, but in the quiet strength she instilled. The recruits, once blind to her worth, now revered her, their clipboards filled with her techniques. Commander Marcus Kane, his pride tempered, taught her methods, admitting her superiority. The camp's transformation was Nyasha's redemption, a vow kept to her mentor. Spark's scar, his blinking collar, embodied her resolve, a living link to a legacy that defied erasure. Nyasha's tattoo, a Morse code relic, marked her as Silent Blade, a name whispered in awe. Recruits hit targets they'd once missed. Their discipline a tribute to her. The desert, once a stage for egos, hummed with purpose, driven by a woman and her ferret, whose quiet strength spoke louder than any rifle's crack. Spark. Recruits gasped at his agility, his scar a badge of past trials shared with the old man. Colonel Elena Torres, watching, asked, "How did you train him?" Nyasha touched Spark's collar, the mentor's face staring back. "He was trained by the man who made me," she said, her gray eyes steady. The old man had taught them both, Nyasha to aim with instinct, Spark to navigate danger. "He's my reminder," she added, her voice calm, her scar throbbing from the eclipse failure. In a night drill, Spark slipped through shadows, placing reflective markers, guiding recruits to unseen targets. Private Ryan, now a top marksman, said, "He's the camp's soul." Nyasha smiled faintly. "He's the old man's soul." Her dreadlocks swayed, silver cord catching starlight, as she recounted Spark's missions with her mentor, his scar earned in covert tasks. Torres revealed the Pentagon wanted Nyasha's methods codified, if it honors him. Nyasha said, stroking Spark's fur, his black eyes gleaming. Spark's role was subtle but profound, his agility mirroring Nyasha's precision. During a sandstorm drill, he darted through obstacles, their shots a testament to her lessons. The camp buzzed with stories of Spark, his crimson collar a beacon of loyalty. Ryan, leading a drill, echoed Nyasha's words, "Listen to the wind." His scar and collar symbols of discipline. Torres, her clipboard filled, said, "Spark's as much a teacher as you." Nyasha nodded, her gray eyes softening. The camp's transformation, sharper, humbler snipers, was her redemption, a promise kept to her mentor. Spark's tail flicked, his agility a living echo of the old man's teachings. The recruits, once blind to Nyasha's worth, now saw her and Spark as legends, their impact etched in every precise shot. Fort Sentinel, once a stage for egos, hummed with purpose, driven by a woman and her ferret, whose quiet strength spoke louder than any rifle's crack. As Nyasha's training concluded, she stood at Fort Sentinel's range edge, the Mojave sunset casting crimson shadows across the sand. Her faded janitor's smock fluttered, revealing the Morse code tattoo and scar on her wrist. Spark clung to her shoulder, his silver gray fur shimmering, crimson collar blinking. The photograph of her stern, silver-haired mentor swaying gently. Recruits lined up, their tactical vests glinting, saluting not out of protocol but reverence. Colonel Elena Torres approached, her eyes soft with respect. "Do you regret the past?" she asked, her voice low. Nyasha glanced at Spark's collar, her mentor's face a steady anchor. "Regret doesn't fix anything," she replied, her gray eyes resolute. "Action does." Her scar throbbed, a reminder of the Eclipse mission's failure, now softened by her impact on the camp. She stepped toward the desert, Spark's tail flicking with each stride, his black eyes gleaming as if sensing her resolve. The camp, transformed by her lessons, whispered of Silent Blade and her ferret, who'd turned their world upside down with one shot. Private Ryan, now a disciplined marksman, echoed her words in drills, "Listen to the wind." Nyasha's departure was as silent as her arrival, leaving no trace but a legacy etched in the recruit's precision. This Silent Blade range sign stood proud, a testament to her mentor's teachings and her redemption. Spark's crimson collar pulsed, his scar a badge of loyalty, mirroring Nyasha's vow. Recruits, once blind to her worth, now carried her lessons, patience, instinct, discipline, in every shot. Torres, her clipboard forgotten, knew Nyasha's brief presence had reshaped Fort Sentinel's soul. "You've given us more than skill," she told Nyasha, her voice tinged with awe. Nyasha's gray eyes scanned the horizon, her dreadlocks swaying, silver cord catching the fading light. Spark leapt to the ground, his tail a silver streak, as if guiding her path. The camp's transformation was her atonement, a promise kept to her mentor. She'd come to right a wrong, not for glory, but for purpose. The recruits' salutes, unprompted, honored her silent strength. Spark's microchip blinked, a beacon of their shared past. Nyasha's tattoo, a Morse code relic, marked her as Silent Blade, a name now whispered with reverence. The desert swallowed her form, but her impact lingered. A vow fulfilled in the recruit's newfound focus. Commander Marcus Kane, his pride humbled, taught her methods, admitting her superiority. The camp buzzed with tales of the janitor and her ferret, whose quiet presence outshone any fanfare. Nyasha and Spark vanished into the dusk, their legacy a whisper in the wind, proving true strength needed only a steady hand and a silent heart. Honed by Nyasha's lessons, struck a 1,800-meter target in darkness, earning nods. Colonel Elena Torres, reviewing reports, noted the recruit's precision rivaled Commander Marcus Kane's best days. Kane, his pride humbled, taught Nyasha's techniques, his voice softer. "I saw only a cleaner," he told a recruit, regret in his tone. She saw the desert's pulse. The Pentagon requested Nyasha's curriculum, but she was gone, her mission complete. Spark's legacy lingered in tales, his silver streak darting through drills, his crimson collar blinking, placing markers with eerie skill. Recruits revered the Ferret, his scar a badge of loyalty, mirroring Nyasha's resolve. During a sandstorm drill, Ryan hit a target using her methods. His shot a tribute. Torres, her clipboard brimming, said, "Nyasha didn't just teach skill, she taught purpose." The camp buzzed with stories of Silent Blade, the janitor who outshot a legend. Her ferret a silent partner. Spark's role, his microchip pulsing, symbolized discipline, inspiring recruits to trust their senses. Kane, once untouchable, led with humility, his shots sharper under Nyasha's influence. The desert, once a stage for egos, hummed with focus, driven by a woman and her ferret. Nyasha's scar, a silent vow from eclipse, had fueled her redemption. Her mentor's lessons, patience, instinct, lived in every recruit's aim. Spark's image, his crimson collar gleaming, became a mascot, his loyalty etched in their minds. Recruits whispered of the janitor who'd silenced their doubt, her ferret a symbol of unwavering trust. The camp's transformation was her atonement, a promise kept to her mentor. During a night drill, a recruit hit a hidden target, citing Nyasha's mantra, "Listen to the earth." Kane, teaching her methods, admitted, "She was the wind we didn't see." Fort Sentinel, reborn, carried her legacy in every precise shot, every moment of discipline. Spark's scar, his blinking collar, remained a beacon, proving true strength needed no fanfare. Only a steady hand and a silent heart. Nyasha and Spark's journey teaches that true strength lies in quiet resolve, not loud acclaim. Nyasha, mistaken for a janitor, shattered prejudice with a single, flawless shot, proving skill transcends appearances. Her past, scarred by a costly hesitation during the Eclipse mission, drove her to redeem herself through action, not words. Spark, a silver-gray ferret with a crimson collar, embodied loyalty, his scar and microchip carrying her mentor's legacy. Their story shows mistakes don't define you, your response does. Nyasha transformed Fort Sentinel, turning brash recruits into disciplined marksmen, her lessons rooted in instinct and patience. Spark, darting through drills, symbolized unwavering trust, proving even the smallest allies hold profound power. In life, we face doubt or underestimation, but like Nyasha, we can listen to our inner wind, acting with purpose. Her scar, a vow of redemption, reminds us that past failures fuel growth. Spark's presence, a beacon of loyalty, urges us to honor those who guide us. True legacy isn't fame, but the silent impact of doing right, even unseen, etched in every precise shot and quiet heart. Direct hit if you've been underestimated or haunted by past mistakes. Let your actions speak. Embrace discipline, trust your instincts, and aim for the moment that matters. No fanfare needed, just resolve and precision. Subscribe to uncover stories of unsung heroes who redefine strength through quiet deeds. Share your tale in the comments. How have you overcome doubt or prejudice? Together, let's inspire a generation to find their mark, to act with purpose, and to leave a legacy that whispers louder than any shout.